speaks to the board in January of 2017, just putting that out there, had requested that management report back on a draft e-bike policy. And it was to include such things as secure outside storage, resources to charge batteries, the impact on elevators, and related cost information. The answer from management is a little bit confusing for me. It basically says they reviewed the relevant legislation pertaining to e-bikes, what mechanisms are available within the current lease to manage safety and damage-related issues, that there are current policies in place that provide, sufficient framework for any potential issues.
Graham, can you give some insight into that one?
So what I'm saying is, we actually ignored the direct request from the board, and the tenants are looking to management to provide an e-bike policy addressing those issues, not quoting legislation. Go ahead.
Well, Graham, maybe I can just take this. We'll come back at the next meeting with one pager that we will also roll out to our tenants in terms of communications.
This is pretty much a do-nothing response from a tenant's perspective.
Yeah, and I'm just going to ask for, just because, please.
The tenant, it is.
No, I know, but just process. Yeah, you know the process, and we're going to give you some time. Okay, Catherine?
Okay. And then the third item on this, sorry, Graham, it's your day. Also on page 4 or 5 will come as no surprise. Item 9, with regard to the governance committee, requesting that management come back and make a determination, bring to the tenant services committee an overarching document for tenant chargeback that reflects our current practices and clarify if the document on tenant chargeback should be a guideline or policy when it is brought to the committee. So again, because it's long and I'm not going to read it, but it simply is another one of those answer non-answers from a tenant's perspective. I realize management feel that they have responded. So it suggests that this is also not a priority for management, similar to the e-bike strategy. So we've done what's most expedient for management, while not even looking into the need to establish either a policy or a process to educate tenants on the TCHC tenant chargeback process. This cannot be for management to know and tenants to find out when they get a tenant chargeback. Okay, it's not fair, it lacks transparency. And the chargebacks vary, and the very issue that tenants have with it, even if management don't have a problem with it, is it's at management's discretion. They can raise the price, lower the price. It could be different somewhere else in the organization. It has to be public. It has to be transparent. More importantly, you have to educate tenants under which conditions might you receive a tenant chargeback and why.
My understanding is there haven't been changes. These are isolated circumstances, and we will undertake, again, communications to tenants so that there's awareness.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of tenant chargebacks are going on every day. Some people are quite surprised when their teenager misses the garbage bin with a bag, was caught on camera, and mom gets a tenant chargeback.
Well, I'd like to see that.
Surprise. It happens every day, Linda. I can show you.
Good, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
so I'd
you.
like the commitment you're going to come back and bring us something. Okay.
Thank you, Catherine. Anything else?
Believe it or not, no.
Okay. With that, I don't think we have a deputation for safer and more secure communities. Miguel? And I'm going to be tough on deputants today too, as I was with Catherine, just because I want to actually have everybody have the opportunity to speak, and we will gauge ourselves. Maybe at the next meeting we'll make it a little bit 2 hours. I don't want to rush people.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this committee of the board. My name is Miguel Avila, and I want to say publicly that I'm going to miss Catherine Wilkinson for bringing up to accountability and transparency of this corporation. That's what we need, accountability, transparency. And those who really don't do their job properly, we should show them the door out a long time ago. Anyway, regarding the safety, it's a concern for me as well, as I have 3 minor children that come to visit me at my TCC home. So I've been hearing also concerns from different tenants across the city that I mentioned to Mr. Anderson in public. At last meeting, Mr. Anderson is there, busy writing a note or something, but he heard me saying it clearly that he needs to coordinate with Toronto Police Services when they come at 3 o'clock in the morning and they bust the doors down. We have the ombudsman here present telling us this situation is ongoing and it's detrimental, it is traumatic for children. We care about children, right? So I hope Mr. Anderson, who is writing a note right now, please understand. Contact with Mr. Mark Saunders, the chief of police, when you are going to raid Toronto community homes. Make sure that the home that you raid is the exact one, because this is cause a liability for the city, number one. I know Mr. Counselor watching me right here, look at me with surprise, but he knows the story, how risk management works. We, the taxpayers, pay insurance, so to benefit, to cover the damages incurred by Toronto Police Services and TCHC. So we need to ensure that the waste of taxpayers' money is like ended, finished, finito. Now, I have a request I have made to the departure, Catherine Wilkinson. There is a policy, I want to bring it to your attention, by the Ontario government that addresses the issue of street checking and carding. This policy was issued about a year ago in regards to how interactions work with Toronto police and members of the community, maybe people like that, even with mental illness and addiction. I have given a copy to Catherine Wilkinson, and thank you, Catherine, for distributing this page to members of the committee, because I want that this document made by the government, Mr. Wynn government, is available for the public to see at the bulletin boards, because the street carding is one of the street checking, racial profiling is one of the determinants of poverty. Sorry, we need to end that so we can move forward instead of being always traumatized, and labeled as, poor people who only gets in trouble. Well, we don't do that. Look, I come here every time. I want to help my community, and I want to put an end to the waste of taxpayers' money and more accountability and transparency. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think Kathy wanted to make a comment.
So generally, we don't respond to deputations. Thank you for that, Miguel. But I did want to comment because safety and security of our tenants is critically important. We've been focusing on fire life safety and having positive outcomes. But Bill and I have had considerable discussions, and we're raising the awareness of physical safety and security of our tenants in every forum we can. We've had meetings with city officials. I've discussed it with a number of councillors and even raised it with the mayor. Because it is concerning, and it is not a problem that we can solve on our own. So our collaborative approach with Toronto Police, we're looking to expand that. We're looking to establish pilots in terms of how we can keep our community safer. And I think, as everybody in the audience probably knows, is we're also investing into our buildings to create deterrence. So adding additional lighting, adding CCTV cameras, they do act as deterrents, because we're not going to have the same level of activity if somebody's being captured on a camera. If they are captured, we cooperate with the police with respect to apprehension. So Miguel, thank you for raising this matter and shining a spotlight on it, because to me it's a critical item to ensure that we are collaborating with everybody involved to make our communities safer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you to both of you. So with that, is there any other comments about this item, Catherine?
Yes, I'm wondering if the senior director of the community safety unit could come up here. No? No? Are you
Yeah,
speaking
no, he's
to
coming.
it? Okay.
Did you maybe raise the question? Go ahead.
Yes. Well, one of the things I want to point out, because as you know, we receive quarterly updates on the safer and secure communities at this table. Just in this particular instance, it seems to me this is a special crime update. It is not our typical quarterly report on safety issues. We know that there's something like, a couple thousand calls in any quarter period. So what we're not hearing is this is the crime, and yes, it's very serious numbers, but what we're not hearing are the things that we hear from tenants every day. The noise disturbances, loitering, those kinds of things, vandalism. We're not getting those reports at this committee, so I think it's important, if you're going to do a special update, let's not forget a quarterly update on what's happening in tenants' lives, because that's certainly important to them as well. And so I wanted to, we all know, so in terms of page 206, that Toronto Police Services are responsible for crime. Like, we may be able to hold them, arrest them, but after that, off they go with Toronto Police Services, and we are not Toronto Police Services. And on page 4 of 6, I'm a little bit concerned about this, and maybe you can help me understand it. We have heard many a time at this table, in the media, on how successful we've been down at the Dan Harrison building. There's tenants there with a lot of challenges that are vulnerable, and we put security guards on that site. The proposal is to remove the third-party security guards and provide at least 6 CSU staff 24/7 a day. I'm really concerned about this, not only first of all, from a tenant's perspective. When you take away from security from a community, tenants are very upset, particularly the community that they're in. Replacing with CSU staff, I'm not quite understanding why that makes a difference. If all we're doing is detaining, deterring, calling police, I'm sure that's what our staff would be doing too. Can you tell me what you think the difference will likely be with us dedicating 6